Hi, this tutorial will walk you through making a basic Scratch animation. Now, there are two other tutorials available on learnscratch.co.uk. They take you through installing it and they give you a basic guided tour of the program itself. So I'll assume that you either know that stuff or have watched those already and dive straight in. So I'm going to load Scratch and I'm going to maximize the window. What I'm going to do first of all, and is really important when you make an animation, is I'm going to fix the position that the character that I'm using starts on the screen. And the reason for that is important is because every time you start your animation you want all your characters to go back to the position, to their starting position. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my animation triggers when I click this green arrow here. This is like the run button in Scratch. If you click that, then it will run your program. So the first thing I want to do is go to the control menu and select that arrow like that, the flag, sorry, and have that at the top of everything. I will now join everything to that, and it will all happen when I click the green arrow. The second thing, as I said, that I'd like to do is I'd like to fix the position of this character on the screen, and I'd like him to come in from the left-hand side of the screen. So I'm going to move him over there by dragging and dropping him. Now, if I run a series of commands that bring him to the middle of the screen, he'll move in like that, but then he won't go back to the beginning. So I'll need to put this command in to make sure he starts at the left-hand side of the screen at all times. I can do that using the go-to command. But at the moment, it's set to go to 0, 0. And these are just coordinates, the X direction being along here and the Y direction being up and down. And you can see the mouse here shows me where those coordinates are. And 0, 0 is somewhere in the middle of the screen. I'm not going to get it exactly, but I'm pretty close there. You can see it's 0, 0 is there. So if I click go to 0, 0 now, he will go to the middle of the screen. But I want him to go to the left of the screen. So I'm going to move him there. And there's a strange little glitch in Scratch. You can't just say current position. What you can do, though, is if you go to one of the other menus and then back again, this then changes to the current coordinate position. So I'm just going to drag that one in and drag that one over there and let go to get rid of it. And then I'm going to click that on there like that. Now, wherever the character is at the start, now when I click the green arrow, it moves him back to his start position. Like that. So that's that sorted, and he'll always start at that left-hand side. Okay, the next thing I want him to do is I want him to move in from the left into the middle of the stage. So I'm going to use this one here, the glide command function feature. So I'm going to drag that one over there, and I want him to glide in 1 second from there, from the coordinate that he's at, to probably somewhere about there, like that. So using that other thing again, I'm just going to do that, drag that one in, and you can see it's now his current coordinate, which is minus 91, 2. Just going to click that one on there, and I'd like these to match, so I'm just going to change that one to 4. Now he will go back to the beginning, and then he'll glide to this position when I click the green arrow, and you can see that like so. There we go, in he comes. Well, him just coming into the screen isn't very interesting, so I thought I would get him to say something. So in this looks but panel here, you can see there is say hello. And I'm going to get him to say hello for 2 seconds. Now, what I would like him to do, just to make it a bit more interesting, is to say hello in French, just because I think it gives a slightly more interesting cross-curricular link to the French curriculum. So now when I flick the green button, he's going to slide in, say bonjour, and that is it. Now, it's all very well, but a conversation like that's not very exciting on its own. So I'm going to do something over here, and in this sprite panel here, I'm going to introduce a new character. And I'm essentially going to copy exactly what I've done, but change everything so that the character comes in from the right, comes into the left to meet the cat. So I'm going to choose one of the other animals. I should probably just reiterate, there are 3 options here. You've got the option to draw your own new sprite, and that also allows you to import from a graphic that you've made in another program or from a photo. You've got the choose a new sprite from file, and there are various characters that come with Scratch by default. And you've also got this one, which is to get a surprise sprite. Personally, I'm going to choose the one I want. I'm going to go to animals, and I'm going to make it have a conversation with this bat. Now, here we go. Here's the bat. He's defaulted to the centre of the screen, and I want him to do the exact opposite of what the cat's done. I want him to start over on the right-hand side of the screen and slide in, and I've just got to make sure that I catch him right and drag and drop him to where I want. So he's going to start there. I'm going to do exactly what I did before, which is get the green flag, so that when I click the green flag he does something. I'm going to set his default position to where he is at the moment, and I'm going to get him to glide into the screen, and I want him to glide into about here. And I'm just going to flip those again so that I get those coordinates here, and I'm going to have him glide in like that. And I also want him to say bonjour to the cat, so I can just do exactly the same thing. Now, there's a problem here, and I don't know if you can see what it is. Conversations, we usually take it in turns, but at the moment our characters are both going to say bonjour at the same time. Now, in the control section, there is this one here that says wait, and I'm going to drag that one in. All this will do is it will put a pause in your list of instructions and wait for the number of seconds that you ask it to wait. Now, I'm going to go back to my cat list of instructions by clicking on the sprite here, and you can see I've asked him to glide in for 1 second and then say bonjour for 2 seconds. And that's exactly the same as what my bat's been asked to do, to glide in for 1 second and say bonjour for 2 seconds. So what I'm actually going to do is put a 2-second pause in between him gliding in and saying bonjour, so that it creates a back and forth conversation rather than them both speaking at the same time. And this time you'll see that because the bat waits for 2 seconds, and that corresponds to the 2 seconds that the cat's talking and then says his piece, then he waits and they take it in turns to speak. So just for the sake of symmetry, I'm going to pop a wait on the end of this command so that the cat waits for the bat to speak. And obviously I can add more things after that. So now, when I start, both characters should go back to their starting positions. They'll both glide in and then they'll say bonjour to each other in turn. So let's try that. And they do. They have a conversation. So, and I could extend this and add more to it. So if I then wanted the cat to say something like ça va, and I know I should have a cedilla, I think, on the C, but I don't know how to get one of those on my keyboard immediately, so I'm just going to leave that to you to find out. And I want him to say ça va and then wait for 2 seconds. And I want the bat then to do it in the opposite order, to wait for 2 seconds and say something back. We'll say ça va bien, merci, and then ask how the cat is. And as you can see, you can quite quickly then build out a simple conversation style animation between these two characters. And I'll just play that through again so you can see it. That's the kind of thing that you can throw open to the children and you can get them to play around with it. And once they've got that basic idea of sequencing instructions, and also the fact that they have to wait whilst one character speaks and then swap over so that the other character is waiting while that character speaks, they can quite quickly build up some quite interesting animations, and it's up to you really to put it into whatever context you want. I've used French here. In our school we've used things like the rights, respect and responsibilities agenda for children to make a little animation about one of the rights, and I've also got them to do their own choice animations and things like that. But you really could do anything. It's totally obviously up to you, and you've got that ability to drag in, import your own pictures. You can change the background as well, and I'm sure I'll go on to talk about that in a later tutorial. This kind of thing we've done with Key Stage 2 children mostly at our school. They've done it in Year 3, and they're also very able to do this in Year 4 and Year 5 and do more advanced things. I see no reason why you couldn't do this with Year 2 and possibly even at the end of Year 1. I've not got a huge amount of experience in Year 1, so I'm not sure exactly what level those children are at, but certainly in Year 2 I would expect them to be able to understand the basics of this and be able to produce something as well. There'll be plenty more tutorials coming in the future on learnscratch.co.uk, but for now I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.